Hey guys, what's up? It's Rob. Welcome to 8rack live stream replay watchers. You guys rock. Thank you for all the thumbs up and likes and subs. I appreciate all of them. Thank you so much for that. So, that being said, I wanted to recap what happened when I played my paper deck in the LGS tourney on Friday, and also talk about sideboarding stuff today. Specifically, maybe some transformational sideboard talk, that was being floated in the 8rack Discord just for fun, and something else that just occurred to me as a way. It's an extreme, but we'll talk about this. What I'm calling a 8rack-12Needle. It's technically 11, but whatever, 11 needle, something like that. Anyway, that's the idea, and we'll get into that. Haven't looked at the decks. We're just talking about sideboard stuff. But first things first. So I ended up 2-2 at the LGS. But really, I went 1-2, and then it was 1-2 and a bye. So it's basically 1-2. Not exactly a super great showing. The one win was versus Jund against, unfortunately, the nicest of my opponents. The other two games that I lost, I went 0-2 against humans and didn't feel good. I had to mulligan to 5 in game 2 after getting his God Hand on game 1. So I didn't really have much chance. That's magic, whatever. He just 0-2'd me. I mean, it happens. It's humans. And then I went into U-White Control versus Jace Teferi as Kanta combo, and I felt like both games I should have won, but he miracle ripped both games. Like, it felt kind of like, okay, the first time he got out of it just barely, like he's about to get killed, and he somehow miracle out of it with Search to his Kanta and draws enough cards to just somehow stabilize it like 1 life, and then I can't put him away. And then the second hand, I had a freaking min hand with Lily and tons of discard. I empty his hand. I get Lily on the table eventually, but I empty his hand, and he's got 2 lands in play and no cards in hand. He proceeds to top deck land Jace, and I have a whole handful of discard, a whole handful of worthless shit, but he just happened to get perfect draw. Like, if he got land Jace land, I would have won. But no, it was land Jace, of course. So anyway, it kind of stung a bit, but I mean, it's magic. I didn't really get salty or nothing. It's like the Jace was for at the end of the game. He ended up with Jace and Teferi, and I still was able to keep his. I had so much freaking discard. I ended up landing a Lily, and I drug it out like 5 or 6 turns, keeping his hand empty. Never saw a rack the whole game. So that's a big problem with 8rack, being that is literally all you have. If you can't get a rack in play in the right time, you could be looking at dragging a game way out. And sure, we have tools to stabilize, but when we're talking about dragging a game way out against U-White X Control, that gets really scary with top deck Planeswalkers. So that is a good segue into talking about some extreme sideboards. So this week's cast will be on some extreme sideboarding and why we might want to do it. So first up, we have 8rack, 12-needle, 11-needle, whatever you want to call it. The idea is pretty obvious. It's a solution. The only complaint I ever had about needle is I can't have enough of them. If only I could have a ton of needles, I could shut down O-Stone and Karn, and then, or now O-Stone and Ujin. This is like pre-Ujin, really, even. But yeah, you can shut it all down. And that is also true of U-White X Control. If you think about it, Colonnade, any Planeswalker you want, and it shuts it down very efficiently too. And it shuts it down not just 1 for 1, but 1 card shuts down all of them. So you only need 3 of your 12 or 11 that you decide on. You only need 3 of those to shut down all of them. That's a weakness of both. Well, more so, I would say it's a weakness of U-White or blue-white Control, is that they have a great game plan, very solid game plan, very well balanced and curved out, but they have a few, not a ton quantity-wise, not a ton of win conditions in their deck, and that is that's a place where we can absolutely exploit. We can exploit that weakness, and I think that's some things that a lot of people don't take into consideration on ways to beat a deck. So what I'm really doing here is looking for just ways to like oh, it's that dude who plays 8rack or whatever, and all of a sudden, yeah, here it is. I show up, it's 8rack, but I'm gonna stop. I know I'm gonna play that blue-white control and see what they can do with this, because I think blue-white control would have a difficult time with mass needles, like multiple needles naming Jason Teferi and their colonnade and shit like that. What do they do with that? I mean, they can't counter everything. Don't forget, these will come in, and all this stuff can come out. Like, I can get rid of all this. Like, there's plenty of fluff here that's not going to help me against blue-white. That won't impact my ability to keep their hand done. Like, I can get rid of the fatal pushes because I can name, pithing needle. I can get rid of the visitors, and I probably get rid of the bridges too, and just leave it like that. And then just name this. I don't need bridge versus them. That's basically my package to dump out. Push, visitor, and bridge. And visitor, this is also, I want to keep in mind that I haven't even looked at the list. It did Friday Night teach me a lot? I did summarize it first thing, so you can, if you didn't hear that. It did. I think I felt like the game versus blue white was totally winnable, but I would have liked some. I felt like I didn't have. I lacked finishers in game 2, and that was very frustrating because I had him right where I wanted him. I had his hand empty. I had him top decking. Even after he got the Jace, he was still just like flailing for like 3 or 4 turns, but I just couldn't draw a finisher, and it was kind of frustrating. Yeah, it's just it's I'm not suggesting. Let's just be clear here, guys. This is just something to experiment with. I'm not suggesting y'all do this or whatever. This is just a brainstorm. Like, what are we giving away here? For sure, let's look at the downsides too. Humans, we've got nothing against it now. This doesn't help us against humans at all. Maybe the Revoker a little bit, just as a body in the face or to get in their way. I guess you could name Aether Vial. Or maybe like Ghost Quarter or something. I can't remember if they're running that. But yeah, anyway. So Torpor Orb I'm not sure about. You mean to stop snappies? That's if you... I like the... Hell, you can make a case for the entire sideboard. Leyline hits the snappies. Yeah, see, it's again. You're right, and Frank, sorry, or Francis. I don't know if you. That's cool. Either way, it is a gimmick, and my thought was this: like, you could go into an LGS and just all of a sudden you're hot, you throw out a ton of needles on them, and some decks I think would have a very difficult time. You could steal games, and they could get wise to it and come up with solutions left and right, Shatterstorm, blah blah blah. You name it, they got a solution. But then the next time you don't run the same sideboard. You see what I'm saying? We got to keep them off balance. Ooh, yeah. Torpor against humans. Torpor is solid against humans, but I'm not going to think about humans right now. I'm going to put humans out of my mind. You have a good point, and I'm not going to ignore humans because humans is a really big deal. I think it's so easy. It's simple to put together. It's simple to play fairly well max out. It's its play lines aren't extremely complex. Meddling Mage is a bit of a skill card, but that's probably it. That's almost the only skill card they got. The rest of it is just swing your dudes and counter spells if you can. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, so I don't want to ignore humans. Humans is good, but just for this is just for the sake of experimentation. Yeah, they hit a lot. They do hit a lot. They can hit like just it's cards that that you don't spring to mind right away, like all the man lands are absolutely, y'all should understand that, especially for decks not running ensnaring bridge, man lands can be a real problem. Fatal Push has helped a lot, I'm not going to lie, but we had a huge weakness before Fatal Push. The ability to not, like, this card saved us from that, or helped to shore up that weakness, but you can't expect so much from Fatal Push. Hey Robert, welcome everybody, y'all guys rock. um, so anyway, so what would the deck look like that would support this? I think something along these lines. I didn't feel like Visitor helped me very much. He did show up once or twice. I think he showed up in the Jund, and he got removed pretty much right away. It wasn't a factor. I didn't love it. The bridge absolutely was a factor. In Jund, it was pretty much the whole game centered around this. I did mono. Yes, this is what I did. I did mono. It was this pretty much. Not the sideboard. Now we're into something different here, but yes, this was the list. Before I started tweaking it just now. But yeah, the bridge was solid. I won't leave this out. I was dying for it in humans. I couldn't get it in humans, of course. It was a big factor in Jund. It was a big factor for me winning in Jund. And it did get removed in both games that I won, but it was able to speed bump him enough that by the time he started was able to swing with his huge goif, I had already ticked him down low enough and he died. So bitter is an idea. Yes, it goes well with bridge. It's always gone well, but I have mixed feelings about Bitter Blossom because of this. It's so, like, in kind of the same vein as Smallpox. It has a range of effectiveness that is, it seems way better early on if you get it and hit it early on than later on. I think it's less effective. But yes, it has synergy with lots of stuff. Into Dark Blast territory. God, I wish I could justify Dark Blast against them. It hits their let's see, it hits their, oh shit, it hits Thalia too. I forgot about that. It hits Thalia. It hits the 1/1 dude who grows for 1 white. You know what I'm talking about. Soldier, the whatever. It hits that Dryad that stops stuff from going to the graveyard. Is it so? It's just sort of well. See, here's the thing about Bitter Blossom. Okay, so Bitter Blossom wants to be played early. If you hit it turn 2, like if you're on the play and you hit Bitter Blossom turn 2, you're set up pretty good. Like decks fold left and right to that. I mean, even decks set up to go. You can. It's just a strong, very strong starting position. But turn 4 or 5, it may, if you have things totally in control, it could be enough to get you the win. But nothing's happening anytime soon. You got to understand, it's going to be like 3 or 4 turns from the point I play Bitter Blossom to the point it starts getting really out of control. So, let's see. Yes, there is a black enchantment against tokens. Yes, essentially, yes, Frank. It's basically it sucks late game. I guess you could summarize TLDR. Bitter Blossom sucks late game. It's not strictly bad late game, but it definitely doesn't feel good. So let's keep thinking what else here. So no Bitter Blossom, no that. I've had some awkward moments. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've had some awkward moments with Pack Rat. And bridge, it does happen. Souls is yeah. Souls is like that. I know I used to fight up and down about comparing Souls to Bitter Blossom, but I suppose for our purposes, you can make that comparison. I reserve the right to be wrong about things. So you can find videos of me screaming at people, telling them not to compare Souls to Bitter Blossom, but there's parallels. I can see that now. If I couldn't back then, I was not thinking clearly. So Souls, or if you're doing White Splash, I have to make the case for Mythrack over Souls. It does what you want Souls to do, but it plays at the same speed as the racks play, and it triggers off the same things that the rack. It really turns it into 12 rack. No, hell no. Hell no. I did not want to lose. I definitely did not want to lose any game. I felt robbed for not at least getting a chance to go 2-2 with the bye, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Myth doesn't really work with Bridge. You're right about that. You're right about that. It really doesn't. Not well. That's the conundrum, but this has been the age-old conundrum for 8rack, finding a way to use Bridge, but also finding win cons that are effective, but, you know, get like, so Bitter Blossom has its drawbacks. What else do we have? Like, you got your waist knots, you got your, you're right, Rob. Well, we should be. You're right. We should be thinking, and thank you for reframing it for me, because we should be thinking about things that work with Bridge. To be honest with you, Bridge was very important. Um, I think it's a really strong card in this meta. It's one of those must be answered cards, and for 3 mana, I think it's about the right power level. It has answers. Pretty much every deck is going to have answers to it, but it's a stumbling stone. You know, it slows them down, and it could be what buys you the time to get the game under control. Yeah, Waste Knot has its problems. So it's like we're always looking for that perfect 1 to 2 CC card. We've never really gotten one that's not a creature, or it's a creature that's evasive somehow, like with Hexproof, or yeah, that'd be a stretch. Or some kind of creature or enchantment would be way better. That does something that lets us finish the game. We don't really have it. Other than Bitter Blossom, that's why we always look out into other colors for splash. For that's what we want out of the other colors, is this effect. Is we want another way to put the game away. So in this case scenario here, I wonder if Tasigur value. It's interesting. What about yeah, Angler's a pretty steep call. Tasigur value. See, we're always wanting to splash at this point. You know, I've been able to do things. This is one of the freaking best reasons to splash blue is their manland. I've been able to sneak out wins with this. Yeah, we need something that's, yes, because Bridge. But, you know, the only exception, Robert, the only exception that I've ever seen is Pack Rat, because it's kind of its own little, sticks up its own little temple. In the same way of Bridge, where it's a must answer, it's a must answer card. So Pack Rat would be the only possible thing, like, you know, and no, it's not super great with the Bridge, but you can do some tricks. There are a few combat tricks that you can do to sneak out more damage than you might think off of a couple Pack Rats and a Mutavault or two. All of a sudden you're sneaking, you know, you're swinging for, they thought you were going to swing for 4 and you end up swinging for 10. Stuff like that. I'm not going to lie that it does feel awkward, but yes, exactly. It's a second wall. So even when it feels awkward, and I have had those moments where it's like, first I had the bridge down, and then the pack rat came along, and I started investing into pack rat, and I felt like, oh shit, I could have ended the game if not for that bridge. Yes, you're gonna have those moments. So it is a non-bow in some lines of play, but that could have easily gone a totally different way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's magic for you. Sometimes you do get those things, and I think it'd be unwise to dismiss it just because of those niche situations. A lot of times it's perfectly fine to have both, and you're happy to have both. Like when they blow up that ensnaring bridge, you still got an army of rats they got to get by, like you're implying here, which is what I've always said. Um, yes, there is um, this one niche, and I have used it plenty of times. Alt myself with Lily and sack my bridge or bridges, whatever, and then you swing out. It becomes a, but that's fine. It becomes a different swing out percentage. Um, I don't like Pox because for the same reason I don't like Bitter Blossom is that it's weighted so heavily towards the early game. Like when you get it early game and you hit it on time and you rip their dork and a land and a card out of their hand and it feels like the strongest card ever made. But there's plays like that, and then there's plays where it's just like, God, I wish I would have just had an actual targeted removal so I could just kill this one dude I want to kill. So it's swingy. It's definitely swingy. Like they may have like no need for land. They got all the land they need. Their can's empty because you've done your thing. You top deck Pox. You're facing humans who's got three dudes out there. You're like, oh great. I just like he's gonna use his least favorite one, and it feels bad. You see what I'm saying? You're not always getting good value. You're way out. Sometimes yes, you get huge overvalue, but then there's sometimes where it hits you worse than it hits them. Yes, you have the pushes and lilies as well, but I don't really have room in my car. This is personal preference. Please understand that. Pox is a way to go. It puts your deck in a very linear mode, and it constricts your design space. I don't like that constriction. I like the freedom of being able to try different things. Pox limits what you're able to do. Also, you need to understand about Pox is when you run Pox, you have got to run 23 lands minimum. So Pox doesn't just take up 4 slots, it takes up 6 slots. You know what I'm saying? And it also rips your land. It slows down your development. And that's one thing that I've always had a problem with is like, even though our curve is so low, we run very, very tight lists. And getting that third, you want 3 land on 3. If you get 3 land on turn 3, you're feeling okay. I'm perfectly set. But if you get set back for a turn or two, and you get land choked off, and you get a Pox, you can't play that card on 2 lands. So for those people who love Pox, there is a path for it, and it does require deck tuning, and it requires a specific deck, and I'm not saying it's bad. It also encourages you to play second. Guys, if you're playing Pox, I want you to understand that you're encouraged to play second with those decks. More incentivized, which personally I never bought into that. I don't like it. I think you give away way too much board position against a deck like humans and shit like that. No, I don't want that. You just let them get out of control before you can do anything at all. But that's a personal opinion. There's no right and wrong. You know what I mean? That's the cool thing about Magic is somebody can run Pox and he's right. I cannot run Pox and I'm just as right. That's the cool thing. That's what we need to start embracing more, is that there is no one right answer. There's many correct answers, and they're all just as valid as the next. The meta is never predictable completely for any one specific person. So you can never really, outside of like an LGS where you know every dude or whatever, like if you're in just a random environment, it should be the same for everyone. But you get the point. Anyway, you can't just say carte blanche, this is the best. Some people love to be like, just make these clear-cut, no room for discussion statements about this card is good, this card is bad. Well, you can't just say that. Like, even cards that are look on the surface to be really bad may have some niche interactions that you never considered with other cards that exist. But does Last Hope help you here? What, with Rat, trying to get back Rat, or just keeping the board clear? Do I even have any of those? Oh god, that's not right. I've got the Heretical Healer. What does she do again? Oh yeah. God, if we could only flip her, rely. I wish we could just get to the Defiant Healer somehow. I do not have. Oh, it's what was it called again? She's kind of okay-ish at keeping the board clear / tanking. Yeah, you know what? You know what's a really huge irritant and a real gap for Bridge is that goddamn Noble Hierarch. I've gotten killed so many times by that or that comboed with itself, others, or Birds of Paradise or whatever. That has driven me crazy in the past 0 power dudes. So that Last Hope, yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see some use out of that. That's pretty cool. Don't really have too much use for the -2. I guess in the same way that if you're stabilized by Lily of the Veils +1, you could probably make a case for her +1 kind of stabilizing a different condition or helping to stabilize a different condition. So if you're, like you said, behind the bridge, you start +1ing Lily, getting rid of any problematic little mana dork type things that can sneak under. That's interesting, yeah. You could make a case for sure. Cards from the new set. I wanted to like a few of them. I wanted to like the discard. Okay, so it's 1 black mana sorcery. Discard a card. I gain a life. He loses a life, and then I surveil 1. So it's kind of like a lot of little crap plus a choose your own discard. So the meat of it is discard a card. Like, its meat of it is a Raven's Crime with a lot of dressing on it, and that dressing is a 1-point life drain and a Surveil 1, which isn't horrible. The Surveil 1 really isn't horrible. Maybe in some kind of a Tassiger type of a scenario where you wanted to load up your graveyard, maybe. So I leave the door open for it. Really, the only card that struck me right off the bat that got me interested was the Assassin's Trophy, and I talked about that in an earlier video. So check that out. I think Assassin's Trophy is. Oh, I did see that. It was like search based on your great creature count in graveyard. Like, nah, that one. Search based on that, whatever that creature graveyard mechanic is they got out coming up. Yeah, I wasn't too hot on that. Let's try Pack. Let's try Pack Rat. This could be interesting. So what do I want to fight on here? I would love to get Tron and see how they deal with this. I would also love to get Blue-White Control and see how they deal with a whole field of needles. And And to be honest with you, the blue white control doesn't really like blue white X doesn't like Leyline of the Void either. So you could probably, I could probably, it's almost transformational. The only tutor that I really liked was Infernal. This is the only one I really liked. The downside to it, like the Hellbent clause, sometimes didn't come into effect. Sometimes you just wanted another, like having duplicates of something in your hand. It could be like a rack or something in your hand. This was the best one, I thought, because it's mode A when you're not Hellbent. Really isn't too bad, and it's only 2 mana. This was the best, I thought. Beseech the Queen. No, you end up with a Mutavault often, and you can't cast it. So, what's up, Duck? Yes, you are. Internet, like it's like making your stamp. You just got your little internet star, your version of it. Your internet walk on, whatever the star walks or whatever. Anyway, let's try this. I'm kind of curious about this. This is test bed 1. See how this goes. Oh, look, real quick, I want to show this. Look what else. So somebody else came up with this, which I thought was pretty cool. Unsure of effectiveness, but definitely willing to check it out. So this is a transformational sideboard. His list didn't have this, but he is running 2 bridges. But this is basically just transformational sideboard into freaking Devotion green or black with Gary and stuff. And this gifted Aetherborn, which I like. I liked this card when it first came out. I thought this was pretty cool. Oops, this is not Arena. This is supposed to be Phyrexian Arena, sorry. There we go. So game 1. All right, so this is, I just tagged, all I've done is sideboard in this. I copied a list from something else, so don't look at the list. So, but basically what you want to do is game 1, you want to be really linear, and you go real linear, no creatures, no nothing, and they side out all of their creature hate, and they side in all of your artifact, all of their artifact and enchantment hate, and then all of that comes out, and you've got then all of a sudden they got creatures all over them, or enough, and they're annoying too. Like this helps me stabilize it. These are good creatures against. I wanted to use him against Burn when he first came out. I never could really make it work as just a one-off in my sideboard. But I thought this was interesting. I thought it was interesting. Or just fun stuff to try. So transformational sideboards is what we are going to be testing today. And what the hell? Maybe I can find. Where is it now? Test bed. Why did it lose my place? Darn it. Alright, let's try. It's a cool little idea to have the creatures be your transformational. I tried something like that when I was running. I tried it with not Devotion though. I did just like Pack Rat and Asylum Visitor when it first came out. I was gonna make that my transformational, but Pack Rat is so slow. It just didn't do that. So that fizzled. But that is a different approach to that, and I like that idea. I think I'm going to keep this. This looks pretty good here. I've got a pretty good finisher, and should have his hand pretty well emptied. We'll see what he's What he dumps. Whoa. Oh. The first match out, I get the rage quit. One match in. 1-0 for rage quit count. That's not great, but I have to keep based on I can't keep mulliganing. That's good. Now it's a solid hand. See what he's got going on here. May need to push something. Oh. Alrighty. Is it a mirror? Basic swamps, a little off. You took a... Wow, that would have been the last of my choices. I would have taken Lily first and pushed second. He must have another. He must have like another one coming. We'll find out. Okay. That's cool. I like this. Why wouldn't you take the Lily? I can push the treetop. I'm happy to do that. He's going to be incentivized to start playing whatever he's got left. Dumps is fatal. Smart, of course. What to take? I guess he should probably take the Lily, but the rack is pretty tempting too. Yeah, the rack. Okay. Now the bridge rip is nice. I like that bridge rip. It gives me some depth to go some extra innings here. Good. Bridge. So we have 12. We won't need 12 needles against Jund. But what? Let's make lemonade here. What can we get out of it? Like what can we use? So we can name manlands. That's always good. We can name now. In this case, we're using their planeswalkers, but you can always name planeswalkers and stuff. Their utility lands in this case, probably not, but you can name the fetches. I suppose his fetches are. I'm not seeing any yet, but so treetop. So this is pretty similar to how I ended up playing against the F&M Jund player. It all hinged around this, waiting for him to blow it up, basically. At this point, I would say you could totally make a case for minus twoing here. If you wanted to really play it safe, you could make a case for minus twoing here, I think. You minus two, and he blows up this bridge. He can't. I mean, he can kill you. He can kill the lily. So you get some automatic value out of it. He may even sack his treetop. But I'm one turn away from the alt. I'm going to go for broke. I'm just going to go for broke and +1. I would say you can. I'll take opinions on that. If anybody wants to put in the comments what they would do in that situation, I like to read when people do that. Other ways or other paths you could take. So in before he auto rips the abrupt decay. Oh, got the right land. So now we have choices. Now we have some interesting choices. I could do 1, 2, 3. Like these 4 and these 4. I got a +1 again. Man, I don't know. I just don't know. I think I got a mind. I don't know. I can put him in a bad situation, but this is Jund and he top decks. I could do 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 in a pile and these 4 in the other pile. That gives him no way to activate his treetop village and no way to cast abrupt decay if he gets it. If he takes that pile. If he takes this pile, whatever. He loses both creatures. It could really put him in a bad spot, but I'll +1 again. He's gonna rip it. I know he is. Oh, I got lucky. I get best of both worlds now. That'll work. Oh, I did forget one thing. He gets black mana from the Urborg. Dumped his creatures. That feels good. That was really good. That gives me I have good safety now. Yeah. And 2 for 2 rage quits. Outstanding. 2 for 2 on the rage. Yeah, our match against Golgari isn't bad. It's not necessarily a lock by any stretch, but it's not bad. That was greedy. I should have probably got punished. He should have probably ripped some kind of removal for that bridge by then, but whatever. Sometimes that goes in your favor. That's magic too. It's not always all bad. What's going on with my other? Oh, what's wrong? Oh, we need more cards in here. So this, I want to be linear game 1. So let's do like this. Add 1 here. And let's do something like super linear. You could do pox. I don't like it. Oh God, we're back to this discussion again. So from white, what do you want? If we're going into green, I'm not sure, what do we need in white that we can't get out of green? Like what specific card out of white do you want? That's in response to Robert. Here I want linearity like crazy. So let's think outside the box, something I'm not normally accustomed to. So not smallpox, but not linear. Let's do something like, oh, I don't know. Whatever. I just don't want pox. You could try it. Listen, the guy who made this deck, who made this version of it, 8rack becomes devotion, he runs 4 smallpox. That should tell you something. I've explained my personal reasons for not liking it, and you know, it is what it is. Your results may vary. I find smallpox to be a very swingy card. I've stated it before, even in this video, as to why I don't. I'm not saying I never use it. I just don't always use it, and I don't like the limitations it gives you. That being said, you got a case for it here, wanting to go so linear. Maybe we could go like Sign of Blood's not. It's really not bad. I've killed them as a nuke with it a bunch of times. You can't. You gotta add lands to add smallpox. You can't run so thin. This is what he's doing, pretty much card for card. I see why he has to do it exactly. How many lands is he running? I think he's running a little bit too much. He's running 24 actually. That's high. Has been yeah, that'd be fun. So myth and sideboard stuff, but what then? Okay, so you want super greedy. That is super greedy. You need that. You'd be screwed color wise. I bet too much. I think you'd get screwed color wise. You wouldn't have the green, or you wouldn't have the white on time, or something like that. I wouldn't risk it. I take one or the other. The green seems interesting now with this new Assassin's Trophy. And one thing Assassin's Trophy does not work very well with is smallpox. So anyone thinking about running Assassin's Trophy, you don't run it with smallpox for the same reason you don't run Path to Exile with smallpox. You don't want to take away their land and then just give it right back to them. That doesn't make any damn sense. Or vice versa, whatever. So maybe something like this. And also, actually, my build in paper had some smallpoxes in it, I think. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Never mind. I ran with the list I showed earlier. But it was Pack Rat. No, it was a Silent Visitor. It was Silent Visitor. God, see, my memory ain't too great. So this is basically what he's running here. He's running 24 lands. That's a lot. I'll run 23 and then smallpox and extra fatal push. That should work. Let's try this. Transformational sideboard time. Testbed 2. they put in all of their non-creature hate, and then you put in all your creatures. Okay. Right away, I'm angry at smallpox. If it was a Bitter Blossom, it'd be freaking amazing hand. Not that that's a conclusive case for Bitter Blossom or anything, but you get the idea. That's the way I think about things sometimes when I'm evaluating cards. It's a good rip. Feels a bit better now, but we'll see. This. Oh, wait. Weird. It's an ETB deck, Enter the Battlefield deck. Kind of, sort of. Tireless. Hate that thing. So now I think I can pretty safely cast this. Pitching. My choices that I'm thinking are 1, 2, and 3. This needs this, so I have to pitch that. But if I pitch this, I got a finisher and this. I'm pitching that. Yet another example of how we don't just auto-break symmetry. There's no good answer there. It hurts us. It hurts my hand no matter what you choose there. It's not a complete asymmetrical spell like some people would like to imply. I like this route. Ooh, Jace. Ooh, Eldritch. So I do this. Bye-bye, Jace. And then push this. That way his Eldritch, he needs a creature out before he can Eldritch. He may be able to do it on his, may be able to do it next turn. I didn't do all the math with the Wallow Roots. Two, yeah, if he plays a land, he could empty his hand and sack the wall. Yeah, he'll do it. He doesn't. I was thinking to take 3, but that's Court of Calling. No, he's good. So what does he get though? Because he doesn't have. That's all he's got. So now I wish I had pitched the Wrench Mine. I probably should have. I was thinking about it, but never know. These types of things, you can't tell sometimes how these games will go. It might work. It might be okay. I might need it still. We'll see. Depends on what he gets. We're racing now. There's no question, though. This is definitely a race. What's this? Two plus. Christ's sake, that's a really strong card. Jesus. Well, he's got to win with that. We'll put it that way. Okay. Race. Need a lily, but I don't even have enough land, so I need like a land and a lily. It's a pretty tall order. Man, that feels really annoying. Okay, that's a thing, sort of. We'll see. Maybe he'll have a removal or something. We'll see. Okay. What do you get? Field of Ruin? Okay. That's kind of nice of him to do it before he swung. I need something to deal with that, though, still. This race that I'm not set up to win right now. I'm set up to lose it. Need a bridge. A bridge would be really, really good. What's a mistake? Damn. Just a little bit too late. That's GG. No bridge coming though. I'd have rather had a bridge over a smallpox in that match. I think another bridge. So here we go. Transformational sideboard time. This is exactly what we want out of this. So in this case, like this. Yeah, we gotta take out these small boxes, duh. I don't want to take that out too much. I don't know exactly how you're supposed to decide. Did you leave the racks in? Or you take the racks out? You take these out? Man, that fucking Eldritch Evolution is a pain. That was a really annoying card last game. I hate that card. Take some racks out. I can still leave 1, 2. No, I can't. My math was fail. Small box out. I don't know. Something like that, I guess. Whatever. You tell me how to sideboard that. I'm not super sure. I heard there's a video for it, though. Maybe I'll watch the video and see how he does it. That's a scary keep. Okay, I'll try. I'm still banking on I'm going to get a swamp, hoping for it. I want to play Grolf before Lily. You probably. But actually, no. And it doesn't matter now anyway. Gary seems like a million miles away to me right now at 5cc. Maybe not as far now. So here's the question now. We've got a bunch of options here. You could block to try and save the Lily and pitch the Swamp, maybe. Probably the Swamp or the Grolf. And probably the Grolf. And then pray you draw a Swamp. And if you don't draw a Swamp, you play the 8rack. Yeah, that's a pretty good play, I think. Pitch the Grolf, and then you're hoping for this play over the Grolf. Or play the Arena this turn and fuck the Lily. Or play the Grolf. Nah, let's play the Arena. I want to play the... Hopefully I can play the damn Gary next turn. Gary hits pretty hard here. He hits for 2, 4, 6, 7. That's pretty good. Does what we wanted it to do, right? I mean, I got my plan. It's just going to combo off, I think. I don't know. Probably played it wrong. Maybe I should have preserved the Lily if I could. Ye old Teferi. This is pretty good here. Not too bad anyway. The Death Touch helps a lot. I do not like my chances. There's no way. He's got it. This goes off. And this. Yeah, that ain't getting there. Well, anyway, something to think about. Definitely need more testing, and I probably did it all wrong. And it probably is wrong to have smallpox in here. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it all wrong. I'll check the video on that. But some things to think about. So basically, transformational sideboards. This is what I wanted versus his deck. I wish I could have got this versus that deck. I would have had, yeah, needles all day long. Deal with needles. You got multiple needles naming Teferi. You can't even cryptic command them away. Stuff like that. Name Jace, name Teferi, name their manlands, name their fetch lands. Like give them, like, you got extras. Get creative with it. Let's give them some real problems. Let's slow their asses down while we do our other things. And this is only 11 cards, too. I can find 11 spots easier than 15. But anyway, so stuff to think about. Let me know what y'all think. And thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. I have got to go because I got to get ready for work, or I would definitely play some more. And please post your comments and sub and like and all of that stuff. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.